Universalist Church in Pasadena. Welcome to all members, friends, and guests. My name is Ginger Fury, and I am the Director of Congregational Life. Since today is New Member Sunday, I am also serving as your worship associate today. Neighborhood Church creates and grows an inclusive community of faith connected by love, spirit, and service. We acknowledge our presence on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Gabrielina Tongva peoples, the traditional caretakers of the lands and waters of this campus. With respects for the rights and wisdom of Indigenous people, we acknowledge our harmful colonial histories and commit to decolonizing our own practices, to learning new ways of being in community with each other and in good relationship with the Indigenous people of this land and the land itself. Today's service is led by Music Director Dr. Zenaida Robles and accompanist Wells Lang, and the Neighborhood Bell Choir directed by Thomas Simpson. Please take a moment to silence your devices as we begin our service. Families with young children are always welcome in the sanctuary, and there is additional seating in the entry foyer of the narthex. I have two brief announcements today. General Assembly is the annual meeting of Unitarian Universalist Association, where participants gather to worship, witness, learn, connect, and make policy decisions for the association through a democratic process. It will include over 70 workshops, from spiritual practices and social justice work to leadership development and congregational growth. There is something for everyone. Neighborhood is gathering a group of congregants who would be interested in representing the church as voting delegates. If you're interested in attending, please email James Coombs. Reverend Omega will be participating in the nationwide Sunday morning worship this year. So if you're thinking of going in person, she would love to hear from you. Mark your calendars. The annual meeting for our church will be held after service on Sunday, May 18th. The annual report containing the agenda, proposed budget, and items for vote will be available electronically at least 10 days prior to the meeting, and open informational sessions will be held in the week leading up to the meeting. You'll be able to find all this information in our upcoming newsletters as well. More extensive announcements, as well as our order of service this morning, are available as a link in the Sunday email. Our order of service is also visible online by scanning the QR code found on the back of your hymnal using your phone. Again, welcome to Neighborhood Church, whoever you are and wherever you are in your spiritual journey. Welcome to this inclusive faith community connected by love, spirit, and service.
We gather this morning to celebrate joy in community, to celebrate our new members, and to honor what it means to be a part of a living tradition. We create this ritual today in celebration of spring also because of its symbolism for new growth, change, and rebirth, and how this beautiful cycle offers to us, those of us who have been on this path for some time, an intentional moment of pause to reflect on our own spiritual odysseys. In a few moments, you will also hear from our 2025 pledge team as they close out our official pledge season. This, too, is a yearly cycle here in this congregation, along with other UU churches. It's a yearly cycle that many of us take for granted, but is integral into what we consider as community work. So I invite us to consider today what it means to recommit every year to this community. Pledging, yes, but also what it means to commit and recommit to being part of this loving community. What does it mean to choose over and over again to be part of a vibrant and changing liberatory faith? I offer you these words this morning from my friend and colleague, the Reverend Deanna Vandiver, for our chalice lighting. We light this chalice, symbol of our faith, alive in this world, naming our vision for collective liberation and daring to remember each other into beloved community. At this time, would members of our pledge team please come forward?
Good morning. Hello to all. What's funny? Oh, that. I should have known. I should have known. She's taking us. This is one of the big advantages of being on the Pledge Committee. Making a new good friend who's going to take us to a Dodgers game. So good morning to all of you who are here. Well, you see one of us is missing, and she may well be on her way. It was a little anxiety-provoking getting here after I had carefully looked at the directions, what would be open, what would be closed. My Google Maps said I would be here at 9:41. And at 9:41, we were looking. I had to call Ann to say, how do I get there? So I made it. So welcome to all of you here online and even those on their way. Today is the official end of the pledge drive. Even though the pledge drive is over, the pledge committee, the staff, and volunteers will continue to try to get all the outstanding pledges in. We thank all of you who've pledged. We really had some fun times getting to know you on the patio. I see some of the people I was fortunate enough to meet are sitting here now and going to be welcome as official new members today. That's very exciting. Here's the bad news. We didn't meet our goal. As of Friday, we had $470,120 from 193 pledging units. That makes us $42,000 short of an austerity budget needed to fund the programs that we have. We do want to continue to offer all the programs that you expect and have grown to love. You may ask, where do we go from here? We will continue to solicit from those who have not pledged, and we know that some additional funds will come in. Elizabeth Campbell will work with the Finance Committee to look at the budget to see what we need to do. Are there cuts we need to make? We hope not. We hope that we'll get enough, but we're not there yet. And what will we do at the pledge team? We're going to work with the new board to talk about what we think went well, what might be different, and to begin to solicit ideas of what we can do to help the congregation financially support the church in what we need to continue our programs and continue to grow. We have lots of ideas to share. Now, the new board will probably be addressing the pledge drive, at least that's our plan, to help them address the pledge drive soon after they take office. If you would like to be involved in the pledge drive, please talk to one of the board members. And I can say that we thought it was fun, although at times challenging. We all have really enjoyed getting to know you, helping to make the pledge drive happen. And we hope to see you all, continue to see all of you on the patio. Thank you.
Our opening hymn is number 29 in your gray hymnals or on the screens above. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing, "Joyful, joyful, we adore thee."
Today is a very exciting day. I'm delighted today to welcome a new group of members into this church. Now, these are folks who have become members within the past year. Today, we invite them into membership and we affirm our covenant together as a community.
Some of our new members have recently discovered Unitarian Universalism, while others have been active in other UU contexts. All have unique stories and bring vital, fresh energy to our congregation. Please take a moment to get to know these wonderful individuals in the coming weeks. We have 17 new members this year joining us. Not all of them are able to physically be with us today, but we hold them in spirit and in our hearts with us this morning. Will our new members please come forward and join us? Will each of you please state your first and last name?
June Keno Cullen.
Marie Hefliger,
Fran Blaney, Kitty McCormick,
David Wise,
Christy Hicks,
Laurel Minear,
Susie Beccarolo.
Carl Puchlik,
Jeffrey Seeley,
Meredith Jones,
Yanni Chang.
Dan Martin,
Lisa Ye,
Warren Ye.
Scoot behind you here.
It wouldn't be a new membership ceremony if we didn't offer you some tokens to take with you, including a mini chalice and a beautiful flower. Now, pardon me, I'm going to stand behind you a little bit, but that's so that I can use the microphone here. This church has no creed, which you must affirm in becoming part of our community, but we covenant to live our lives with shared values, to care for one another and to be in accountable relationships, to participate as we are able, to speak and act for social justice, to contribute time and financial support, and to welcome others as we aspire to be an inclusive community. So now I ask you, new members, and I will try and meet everyone's eyes here, wonderful. I ask you, the new members of Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church, to affirm your membership today and your pledge to seek deeper meaning and stronger bonds with fellowship within this community. If yes, please say, I will.
Will the congregation now recognize our new members by reading the passage of welcome shown on the screen? We welcome you with open hands and hearts. We covenant to support you in your spiritual journey, to accompany you in good times and bad, and to encourage your growing commitment to the values we share. As To our new members, this church offers many blessings to our members, friends, and the wider community. We give to you a place to worship, to explore your spiritual path, to learn, to play, to grow, to give, to be comforted, and to offer comfort, to work towards justice, and to connect to new friends and a community of many loving hearts and open minds. To our newest members, we also honor the blessings that you bring to this community with your unique gifts and your hopes and life experiences. Neighborhood Church, please welcome me in joining our newest members. Please welcome them.
Fantastic. And new members, we will have the second part of this ritual today after the service over in the neighborhood house in the living room, where we'll gather and you will all sign the book to become officialized on paper as a part of this church. We're so glad that you're here. Have a seat, and we'll see you at the reception afterwards.
Good morning, everyone. I didn't even have to say it. That's awesome. We welcome up our young and young at heart. And if there's anyone else in the back who wants to come up, there's more cushions over here. Hi, guys. How are you? Good? It's good to see you. This morning, our Time for All Ages is called I Am We, a book of community in honor of our new members and in honor of the community that we all share. So let's get started. I need to position myself here. Hello. I'll wait. All right. I know it is important to take care of me, to focus on my own breath, my own needs, to be kind to my mind. Sometimes I wonder, is that selfish? How does caring for myself help anyone else? How do you guys think caring for yourself helps others?
It helps you, but not others.
Okay. maybe it does help others. Maybe you just gotta ask them. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see what comes up. But then I realized that the better I feel inside, the more I can be there for others. My friends, my family, my community. Because I do not exist alone. I am part of something bigger than myself. And when we each take the goodness and self-compassion inside and turn it outward, that is how we make progress and change. How we build, create, learn, and show love. How we care for each other affects the world. I am more than me. I am we. When there are challenges and struggles, I can check on you. You can check on me. We can create a safety net so no one falls. When there is hurtfulness and inequity, we can stand up for each other. We can sit, gather, march, sing, vote, stronger in numbers, louder in voices as we call for justice. When there are differences in thoughts and opinions, we can have a conversation, listening, disagreeing and agreeing with gentleness, finding the right solution for all of us. When there is shyness and a feeling of not belonging, we can be the welcoming committee. Interested and thoughtful, making sure there's a place for everyone. When there are problems to be solved with creativity, I can share my talents and you can share yours. We can combine our skills and ideas to dream of something spectacular. Do you guys have any talents? Creative talents? Drawing? Gaming? Yes. Drawing? Oh, well, it takes some practice. When there are good times, successes, and joy, we can celebrate, show our excitement and pride, and encourage each other to keep on rising. Love it. Connection is how I grow. Connection is how we grow. Connected is what we are, part of a worldwide community, diverse and magnificent, kind and accepting, supportive and present, all of us important, none of us alone. I am not just me. I am we. And if we put our heads and our hearts together, if we keep on caring for ourselves and each other, everything is possible. The end. That ends our story, our time for all ages. Please join me in singing the children out to their classes.
Each Sunday, our congregation dedicates 100% of its contributions to 501c3 organizations or neighborhood church-based social justice activities that are making a difference in our community and in the world. Each selected guest organization aligns with our community's mission and values and is nominated by church members who are often longtime volunteers and supporters of these change-making organizations. You can donate in one of two ways. You can use your cell phone to donate by texting the number on the screen, or if you'd prefer to donate in person, put your donation in one of the designated boxes during the music or after the service. There is a donation box here in front, behind the center back row, and in the narthex on the entryway table. You may rise during the music to put your donation in the box if you wish. Please extend help to those in your neighborhood who may need assistance reaching our donation boxes. If you wish to make a payment towards your pledge or to contribute to church operations, please make a note in the subject line or use an envelope available out the donation boxes. This week, our gifts will support the Audubon Center at Debs Park. Here to tell us more is Rachel Bailey, the education coordinator.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here again today. I was here a couple months ago. My name is Rachel Bailey, and I work at the Audubon Center at Debs Park. It's pretty close by here. It's just down the 110. We're a nonprofit community conservation center, so we're sort of like a nature center, but we focus on getting local community members actually involved in conservation science. We're a part of the National Audubon Society, which is a bird conservation organization. We do a lot of work through many different projects at the Audubon Center. One of the things that we do is native habitat restoration. I think there's some native plants in this arrangement, which I love. A native habitat restoration with a focus on birds, but also for all other wildlife and humans. We do this by planting California native plants, watering them until they're established, and educating the public about the wildlife that uses these spaces. We involve volunteers, interns, students, and community partners in this practice of land stewardship. We also host K through 12 field trips on site to give LA students the chance to explore nature, use binoculars, investigate habitats and wildlife as a scientist, and learn about how they have the ability to be involved in conservation. We're open to the public on weekends. Our hours have changed. We're now open to the public Thursday through Sunday. In January, our hours were just weekends. So Thursday through Sunday from 8 to 4 every week. While we're open, we have a welcome center where we lend out child and adult binoculars, backpacks, compasses, art supplies, nature books, and more, all for free, so that anyone can have the tools that they need to explore the trails of Debs Park and learn what's around them. We also lend out for free off-site educator kits of binoculars and lightweight nature books and lots of other things, so that schools and other organizations can access our tools and host their own programming throughout LA County. So if anyone here hosts programming for the public and you could use binoculars, or we've got some art supplies we can lend out, keep the Audubon Center at Debs Park in mind. And it's all free. There's so much more that we do, from partnerships with Pasadena City College, native plant workshops, plant donations to other local restoration projects, and making our physical space available for community members to use in a variety of ways. All of this work is for Angelenos, with a focus on the local communities in and around Northeast LA. Our programming is almost always free, so that we are as accessible as possible for anyone to experience nature. We are very grateful for support from community members like all of you, so that we can keep offering these programs, tools, and resources, because we believe everyone deserves easy access to nature. I'm more than happy to chat about the Audubon Center at Debs Park and answer any questions after the service. Thank you so much for having me again and hosting me on behalf of the Audubon Center.
Thank you for giving generously.
It's time for a quiz. I heard somebody say it. This is Libby, our liberating love pig. You may recall from last year, this is Libby wearing a jetpack because this is our jet pig. Let's see who can remember what jet pig stands for. Justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity. Okay, we got there. I say A+. A+ for everyone. Now, the values that we just stated were adopted last year during General Assembly to represent the Unitarian Universalist Association understanding of what we share in common. This is a system of values that we believe are important. It is not a creed, however. It's not a creed. This is how we gather. And so I'd like to read to you what these individual values are. Now, for new members, you probably have picked one of these up, or Ginger or I gave you one of these, but for members who have been here for a while, you might not have seen this pamphlet. I would encourage you to grab it. Here are the language. This is the language that has been adopted. Interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. With reverence for the great web of life and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work together to repair harm and damaged relationships. Pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and we embrace our commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. Justice. We work to be a diverse, multicultural, beloved community where we all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and society at large. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, our presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. Equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. With that, I close out our reading for today. I'll talk more about these values in a few moments. In the meantime, you may adore Libby, the liberating love pig. The Reverend Nancy McDonald Ladd, colleague and mentor of mine, recently wrote a theatrical piece that described the founding of the American Unitarian Association like this. Now, she's the Director of Communications and Public Ministry at the Unitarian Universalist Association right now, and the piece that she wrote is a bit of satire on what happened 200 years ago in March that caused the founding of this organization. Now, I want to be clear, they didn't actually secede the first time around in March. She posits that it was because they were slightly grumpy because they didn't have lunch. You can read her theatrical piece in the UU World. She imagines this group of, and they were gentlemen at the time, as men in Birkenstocks and khaki shorts, and they tried to get together this organization, or was it a convention, or was it a group, and they debated the language, ultimately weren't successful. But a few months later, in May, they did come together, a different group of Unitarians who came together at the Berry Street Convention, May of 1825, and they made it happen. And that was a big deal. It actually coincidentally happened the same time as it was happening in other parts of the world. So she closes out her theater piece with this quote. She writes, exactly 200 years ago this spring, coincidentally on the very same day that the British and Foreign Unitarian Association was chartered an ocean away, this is how it started. So often, she goes on to say, we discuss history from a safe distance. Our forebears in faith, when mentioned, are referenced with a sharp rebuke or vaulted respect, as if all the words they said were written in indelible ink, and everything we are today was somehow predestined by the leadership of those who came before. But the larger truth is both stranger and more comforting. Namely, that we are not alone in our stumbling efforts toward a liberal and liberatory faith. They were not so perfect either. Their struggles are our struggles. Their story is our story. Their imperfect past is part of our own evolving future. In our own imperfection and limitation, whether every meeting we plan ever happens or not, may we be worthy of both their legacy and our living tradition. So today, 200 years later, here at Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church, we are celebrating our living tradition by engaging in a ritual for our new members to become part of this community. It is right that we talk about our history as we celebrate our present. We have a rich history of being a liberatory faith tradition, a tradition spread over hundreds of years that go back before that 200-year mark. It is true that we are a vibrant and life-saving faith tradition in a world now that desperately needs a message of justice and love in this world that feels increasingly dangerous. We are a faith for the future because we understand that becoming a member of a Unitarian Universalist church is a choice. It's not a coincidence. No one accidentally winds up here. Well, maybe you did because marathon traffic, I don't know. So welcome. If you don't know how you got here today, we're happy you're here too. It is an intentional choice to become a member of a UU church, and it's an intentional choice to become a member of each Unitarian Universalist church. So some of you have been members of other churches. It is an act of commitment to aspiration of community building. It is a commitment to grow personally in your faith and your spirit, and to encourage others to do the same. It is an aspiration because new members like those who have joined today, make our faith stronger for the future. And what exactly is our faith anyway? In a community that purposely chooses to be creedless, in a community where if you were to ask 10 people in this room their theology, their understanding of ultimate purpose of what unites us, Those 10 people will give you 14 answers. What is our faith? What is our faith? Raymond Paniker, or Raimundo Panicard, who was from Spain, he was a theologian in the 20th century. He was a Roman Catholic priest who famously said that he left Europe to study Hinduism in India. He discovered he was a Hindu, but he returned as a Buddhist and also came back to Spain without ever ceasing to be a Christian. He posited, sounds a little bit like a faith journey some of you may have. He posited, and I want to be clear, I am generalizing and simplifying a lifetime of his very complicated theology here, and I won't do it justice, but he posited that the experience of being a spiritual being is cosmotheandric. This is a word that he came up with. This means that God is a part of all things, all people. He wrote that there is no God, man, world, rather that God, man, and world are, so to speak, in an intimate and constitutive collaboration to reconstruct reality, to make history advance, to continue creation. I'm going to repeat that quote of his. God, man, and world, so to speak, are an intimate and constitutive collaboration to construct reality, to make history advance, to continue creation. Now, this was an anti-Trinitarian view, if you heard that clearly. Who was a Roman Catholic, he got into a little bit of trouble for that, as you can imagine. Now, he was not Unitarian per se, but many Unitarians and Universalists have found this theology to be resonant. It could be a way for some of you, if this feels comfortable, to describe how we feel that we are part of a greater all, that we're part of this all, we're not separated from it, that the all flows through us individually and this community, that we collaborate together intentionally with the other parts of this all to continuously create together, that we are one, we are united in values, that center love for this great interconnected web, and this love is echoed back to us. The web loves us back. When you choose to become a Unitarian Universalist, you choose to be part of a community, of a religious community. Now, those of you who have spoken with me recently in one of the new member conversations or meetings that we've had, you may have heard me make reference to saying that spirituality is what you do on your own, but religion is what you do when you come together in a community. I also can't apparently talk about this with using two of my hands. Unitarianism and Universalism, as was pointed out, thank you to Ginger. This does not mean that your path is the same as other people's in this room, I don't think, but that you are intentionally creating community here where we're united in values that we share, that we interrogate them, we question them, we make sure that we're living towards them, we act on them. They're not creeds, though. We don't demand that other people believe a certain path. This is where we come together with intention to practice the fine art of beloved community. And sometimes we don't get it right. That is a reality. This is why everyone who becomes part of a Unitarian Universalist church makes the active choice to join. Our children who grow up in this church and become adults make an active choice to join when they become adults. It's not automatic. Spouses, even spouses of members, are not automatically members. You are an individual person. You choose to join. To become a member is an intentional act of covenant. It is an agreement of how we will be together, not a test of what you believe. A commitment is made, as well as you heard, as part of our pledge drive this year from our pledge team. It is a financial commitment, but it is a commitment to share your resources to support this church, because as you know, no funds for this church come from other places. This church supports itself. So your financial commitment and also your commitment of other resources, your time, your talent, that's what sustains this community. This is why we ask current members, even members who have been here for 5, 10, 20 years, to repledge every year because it is an intentional act of recommitting a moment of reflection on how you support this community and how you do it now and in the future. But being part of this church isn't just financial. It's not being told to believe one thing. It is part of being a living tradition. I recently had a conversation with the students at Sequoia School about faith for one of their senior classes. And one of them asked a very astute question because they used this space during the week. They said, "What is a living tradition?" Because they saw it on our hymnals. I said, "Ooh, great question. Let's go to seminary." And then I took them all to seminary, and they're still studying today. And I don't actually have an answer, but I can say this. Being part of a living tradition means being part of a community that grows and changes with every new addition. No circle is ever the same when the outline has been altered and new people join. As we grow and change, so too must our circle change. So I'd like to honor this community and this living tradition. And I'm going to ask you either to rise in your body or raise your hand, or if you're sitting next to someone who is unable to do so, you can indicate for them. Now, this isn't meant to call anyone out. I just want to appreciate the depth in this community. This is an invitation to participate. We have members who have been here for over half a century, for 50 years. If you would like to raise your hand if you have been here for more than 50 years, I invite you to do so. Now, if you've been part of this community for, let's say, 40 to 50. There you go. Great. How about 20, 30 years? Oh yeah, okay. Fantastic. Yeah, for some of you, notice I'm not saying age here, right? So 20 to 30 means you might be 20 years old. And for those of you who raised a hand at 50, you might be 50 in a day. This is not about age, okay? Now, how many people about 10 years ago became members? Now, let's talk about those pandemic years. How many of you became members while everything was online? There are a couple folks, yep. Mm-hmm. And how about in the past couple of years, including our members today? I am doing this so that you can appreciate that this is a community that has been together for decades, for over 100 years, but I don't think there's anyone who's been a member for over 100 years in here. If you have, fantastic, and I will give you a special star. I don't think that that's the case. If I were to give one charge to this community, to both our new members who are joining today and those of you who have been here 10, 30, 50, 60 years, if I were to give one charge to you today, keep figuring out your place in this larger web of all. Keep working to define who you are and what this community means to you, not by default, not by, oh, we don't do it that way, or we don't believe that, rather by the positive. Define who we are, define who you are, and interrogate that every day. Own the faults and the missteps of the past, absolutely, and then define in the positive what we are. That might be using JetPig. That might be using the 8 principles that we sing to our children as they leave. Maybe it is a different way of remembering. Perhaps you have written an elevator speech. I know some of you worked on that last fall that you would like to share. But work on that every day. Whatever helps you reorient to what you are, how you understand your faith journey and values and how you live them in the world. And bring it to this community and work on it in this community as part of our living tradition. This community, this beautiful community, what Nancy MacDonald Ladd was referring to when she said, we are not alone in our stumbling towards a liberal and liberatory faith. Our ancestors, they were not so perfect either. Their struggles are still our struggles. Their story is our story. Their imperfect past is part of our own evolving future, in our own imperfection and limitation, whether every meeting we plan happens or not, and we are very good at planning meetings. May we be worthy of both their legacy and our living tradition. May it be so.
Our closing hymn is number 100, I've Got Peace Like a River. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing, I've Got Peace Like a River. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy. I've got joy like a fountain. Fountain, I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got tears like raindrops. Tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. And I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul.
Our words for our benediction today come from the Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits here, not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. We are active and proactive, we care deeply, we live our love as best we can. We are one. Working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing, and rejoicing, getting to know one another, taking risks, opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, and paying attention, asking questions, and listening, and then living our answers, learning to love our neighbors and learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility, being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. We are one. Amen.